Good afternoon, welcome to Semi-Casual Gaming. This is our second battle report featuring the Legions of Nagash versus the Cities of Sigmar. I'm trying to feature another army, also practicing, new setups, some new lighting, new couple different things just to try and get a better viewing report. I know this is not necessarily the highest quality stuff you're going to see as you see the wobbliness, but we're going to go ahead and give it another go. I'm going to go over the army lists here shortly, and then after that get set up and we'll start rolling some dice. So here are the army lists. Alright, first off we have the Legions of Nagash. It's the same list as the first battle report that we recorded a couple days ago, but to go over it again, we have our Vampire Lord, or Vampiress. She will be a flying horror, so she will have the fly special rule and 10-inch movement. Because they don't come with a bonus scroll or spell on their war scroll, I'm giving the Vampiress the Vile Transference spell. Otherwise, we're not doing any warlord traits or artifacts of anything of that sort, just to keep it simple still, as I'm slowly adding on more rules so I can keep memorizing everything while I'm trying to record. To support her, we have 20 zombies. They will have their standard bearer and their musician. Both are featured in the front. Although this camera's kind of blurry still, so we'll see if you can even see it. Then the other unit are 10 skeletons with swords. There will also be champion, musician, and standard bearer. And to back them up, we will have the 5 Hex Wraiths. Thankfully, I was able to fix their size, so the champion or the Hellwraith for today is going to be this one of the friends who is single-handedly holding his site. Overall, this comes out to exactly 500 points, and we'll see how well it does against the humans this time. Let's go over to that list now. Alright, and here are the Cities of Sigmar. I'm going to tell you folks right now, this is a project army that is going to be a forever project army, so forgive the poor paint jobs, the square bases, yada yada yada. I have a long rambling spiel I'll probably do after this report, so if you want, I'm going to put a note at the end, and if you want to kind of hear the sob story of these guys. However, they are still models, and therefore they are still markers for the game, so they can still be used, so we're going to try them anyways. To start off with, we are going to have our general today being a Battlemage. Now, the Battlemage I actually built from a Dark Elf kit with some human parts and such I got from a hobby bash from a few years ago. And so he will be a wizard from the realm of Chamon, the realm of metal. So his bonus spell is going to be the Transmutation of Lead. I'm not going to go into all the minutia, but basically it's a debuff, and we will feature it if I actually get the spell off. Supporting him, he will have 20 Freeguild Guard. They will have Halberds for this game because it's how I was modeling them. Especially because I really liked them with Halberds back in the world that was, and I haven't bothered to try and fix, repair, transition them accordingly. So the champion's going to be this little dude on the front with the double sword, even though I don't think there's any extra unique abilities on the champion besides probably the +1 attack or whatnot. And then musician, and then the standard bearer will be here. Behind them, we'll have 10 Freeguild Handgunners. You gotta remember all the fun words. There's going to be a champion in the front is going to be the one with the Hochland Longrifle. There are 2 modeled with long rifles, but the one that's actually properly painted will be the champion. There's also supposed to be a piper and a standard bearer, neither of which are modeled here. So this dude who's got kind of 2 guns he's holding onto will be the piper, and this one who's actually holding a repeater handgun will be the standard bearer stand-in for today. And to finish out the list, we have 10 Freeguild Greatswords. Started painting them. Again, a lot of these projects were old world, and then when it transitioned, they kind of fell apart, but again, I'll save that for later. So, however, these guys are all magnetized on their bases, so you're going to see them a little more spread out, because if they get too close to each other, the rare earth magnets will pull them in and slap together and become a big hustle. So, but either way, I think this should hopefully give still a good game. I mean, definitely more models actually than the undead this time. There's probably a more direct comparison between the two armies, but yeah, we'll see how well they go. Again, we're not doing any specific cities, just like we're not doing any specific legions, just to keep the rules simple. And we're going to go ahead and get the team set up, show you the board, and get the dice rolling. Alright, so here is the deployment. Just to show you the field, I decided to rearrange and attempt to do horizontal instead of diamond. They're about 24 inches apart, but again, it's a 33-inch table, so it gives them very small deployment zones. So they're kind of a little stacked up on each other a bit. However, so today's mission, I'm actually going to add one of the rules from a very common mission. I forget the name of the mission. I'll probably add it as text here after. But what we'll do is, beginning of the battle round, after turns are determined, or turn order is determined, I'm going to roll a dice, and one of these objectives is going to be worth 2 points as opposed to 1. So, again, I guess I just pan over them. From furthest to closest, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And otherwise, same rules apply. Just whoever gets the most points after X number of turns or total wipe will win or lose. So for the undead, we have a very straightforward lineup. We got zombies, skeletons, vampires, and Hex Wraiths. Pretty clean and straightforward. Now, for the other side, we've got Halberds, handguns, wizard, greatswords. Again, very straightforward. I think it'll pretty much just be lined up straight across. There's an even number of drops, and again, you know, usually you just say whoever finishes dropping first gets to go first, but because I'm doing a solo play here, I'm just going to roll dice and see which side goes first. So, over here on the dice pad, we got 2 dice. The yellow will be the Freeguild. Blue will be the undead. Alright, we'll see who gets to go first. Alright, that is a 1 and a 2, so undead get to go first. Let's get this game going, and we will... Okay, so we're going to start with the hero phase. The vampire is not in range with any of its attack spells to attack them, so we're going to go ahead and just cast Mystic Shield. We are going to roll, needing a 6, and that is an 8. The wizards are within range. The Battlemage is within range. I'll probably be calling a wizard the entire time, but Battlemage 5 does not dispel it. So the vampires will give the Mystic Shield over to the Hex Wraiths. So till the next phase, they'll have reroll save rolls of 1 with already a 4-up save, so they should be pretty tanky. And that was the exciting hero phase. So now we're going to go ahead and do the movement. But first, because I completely forgot already, we're going to roll to see which objective is worth 2 points. Objective 3, that's the one closer here. I'll add a marker to it shortly, and then we'll do the movement. So, alright, before and after. So, now we're going to take a look and see their run rolls. So, zombies only got a 1, which was kind of unfortunate because they have such a short move. So they fell out of reach of the objective. Then the skeletons only got a 2, and so they, again, were only able to shovel forward just a little bit further. Actually, yeah, I think they're about right. I went ahead and had the other 2 run, but they didn't go their full move. The Hex Wraiths are just within 6 inches of that objective, claiming it, but staying out of countercharge range from the Greatswords. And the Vampirist, I was going to have her run down here to try and claim that objective, but yeah, I mean, I count the objectives at the end of the round, which meant that she was basically getting lined up to get gunned down, and they only need to roll a 1 to actually get close enough to start claiming the objective for a run roll. So she wouldn't be able to keep the objective away from them anyways, so I just chose to have her come to the middle. Another thing I'm doing because of the small table is only 1 unit can claim an objective at any time. Kind of house ruling it, again, just for my personal setup. So, in the meantime, I ran. There is no shooting for this army. There is no charging for this army at this point. And there will be obviously no close combat or morale for this army. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up and get on to Cities of Sigmar, round 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and have the Battlemage roll his spell. I'm going to actually attempt the Transmutation of Lead. We'll see if we can get it off. It goes off on a 7. That is a 5. It is not good enough. Know that normally with their rules they even get a +1 to casting just because of being a Battlemage, but that's a 6. I still didn't make the spell, so magic phase or hero phase is over. So now we're going to go ahead and move. So this is the before and the after. So I only ran one unit here. That was the Halberds. I got a good 5-inch charge or run. I didn't go the full distance. I came up quite a bit. My city's turn is basically setting up for double turn hopes, because honestly, if I don't get the double turn, they're going to get probably mowed through anyways. Otherwise, I just shuffled everything up forward. The handgunners get bonuses if they stay in place, but their guns are only a 16-inch movement, and so everything else was out of reach except for the long rifle. But I kind of don't feel like foregoing all the shooting just so the rifle can shoot with a +1. So I feel like I got better odds there. The wizard kind of tucked itself behind that terrain piece, which has an opening. They can charge through if they wish to, but we'll see how it goes. The Greatswords could do a long bomb charge if they feel like it, but I think for this turn, since I clearly have this objective at the end of the turn regardless, it's going to be a tie of points, so I'm not going to risk losing the unit prematurely just to, attempt to try and steal the objective from them. So we're going to go ahead and move on to shooting here shortly. I'm going to check the dice and get the number set up, and we'll get that going. Okay, so we're going to go do the shooting phase now. We've got the handgunners are going to go ahead and pop shots over at the skeleton warriors, trying to thin out their rings. The one in the back, the golden one, is too far out of reach. The other 8 are in reach, and in case you guys noticed earlier, I'm just going to call myself out on it. I rearranged a couple of the guys because I realized I put the champion in the front, but he's got a 30-inch reach, so there's no reason for him to be in the front when he can still shoot from where he's at. So I gave myself the benefit of the air and swapped him out with the other guy in the back. So overall, so 8 of the guys can reach to shoot, and then the marksman as well. So I got dice here. The blue one will be the marksman. He does 2 damage instead of 1 on a hit. Otherwise, they'll be hitting on 4s. And so he hit. That's good. Pull those ones out. Wounding on 3s. Oh, that's not as good. Oh, and the blue one died too. So these are -1 damage, so that automatically goes through the skeleton save, and only 2 of them affect, so 2 skeletons are puffed off. Not you, Mr. Zombie. You can stick around to die later. That is it for the shooting. I have nothing in range to charge. Well, the Greatswords are in range to charge, but I don't want them to charge, so I'm going to go ahead and have them end turn here. Skeletons lost 2 models, which they're bravery 10, so that doesn't matter. So they'll just hang out and be like, grr, why did you shoot 2 guys down? The objective counting, that one is clearly controlled by the Hex Wraiths. This one, the Vampires, is just within the 6-inch range, so she's controlling that. And for this one, it is clearly a Halberds controlling. So it is 2-2 tied. Nobody's wearing tutus though. Alright, let's go ahead and roll off to see where the objective is of power this time. 3, 5, 6, so that's the same one, so we'll just leave the marker there again. And now we're going to roll the dice to see who gets to go first. Undead went first, so they get to win ties. Oh, they win ties. Alright, looks like it is Undead turn 2. Okay, so we have our magic or hero phase going. So the Vampiress, her Vile Transference isn't really usable right now. There are things within range, but they won't get the benefits from it, so she's might as well cast the Arcane Bolt to do more damage. The closest unit to them, however, is actually the Halberds. I just measured it. They are about a ½ inch closer than the Greatswords are. So we're going to go ahead and roll, leading a 5, 6 will go off. And then we'll just scoot this because I think the glare from the camera, the light source. Oh, Battlemage rolled an 8, so I guess no magic. Alright, we're going to go ahead and move and prepare to see what we do for the charge phase. So here is the before and after. Okay, so the zombies just shuffled forward a little bit. I'll explain why in just a moment. The skeletons ran 3 extra, so they got 7 inches and piled in here. As you see here, instead of crossing over and trying to battle the people that could actually hurt them, they're going to go eat some guns instead. The vampires, seeing that the Hexwraiths abandoned their post, she ran over to control the objective while still being kind of close to supporting where needed and trying to be as far away from them. I think they're put in a spot though, because depending on how the handguns do versus the Hexwraiths, they might actually have to come over and deal with them or lose this entire side, or they can go and character snipe, you know, putting pressure options on them. Now back to the zombies. I only moved them 4 inches because of another gaff I did as the cities player. The zombies have the noisemaker, which is like the musician for their unit upgrade, and that upgrade gives them so that when they charge, they treat any roll of charge at least 6 inches unless they roll higher. I set them up exactly 10 inches away, so with their 4-inch move, they're now 6 inches away, which means they have been guaranteed their charge against the Halberds, so they are automatically going to be getting in no matter what. I mean, I'll still roll because, well, I can get, you know, more wraparound, more attacks, and that sort of thing. So, you know, something I'll keep in mind in the future for dealing with the undead. You want to give yourself an 11-inch bubble, so that way they can't get a free charge. So, another thing I forgot during the hero phase earlier, the vampires is close enough to the skeletons. At the beginning of each hero phase, they get to roll a d3 for, you know, 1 or 2 number of units nearby, and they can bring back models or heal back wounds if a model is not completely damaged. Or no, they can bring back models, but they have to roll the X number of hit points, yada yada yada. So I'm going to quickly roll, actually this die quick, for d3 for 2 models back. So the 2 skeletons are back in the fray. Now I'll put them in the back because technically I could have put them in front and then moved them forward, blah, 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 blah. But since I'm forgetting, I'm just throwing them in there. But otherwise, the skeletons are back to full force. There is no shooting, of course, so we're going to go ahead and get into the charge phase. We're going to have, we'll roll the zombies first, needing a, well, 6 no matter what, but we'll see if they roll higher. I got an 8, so we'll put that there. And the Hexwraiths are 3 inches away from the Handgunners. Oh, I thought that was a double 1. They made it. Barely. And they let the Handgunners trigger their own special rule. I'll look that up in just a second. It's the stand and shoot. Once per turn, when an enemy unit adds a charge within 3 inches of this unit and no other enemy units are within 3 inches of this unit can shoot. And since it's also, if there are no enemy models within 3 inches, so I can't take the steady aim plus 1 bonus. So these guys are just going to literally go flunk, blunk, 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 blunk. But then we get to roll a whole bunch of shots and see if we can plink off a couple ghosts before they get plunked off themselves. So I'll pick up the dice, I'll move the zombies, and then we'll do the shooting, close combat, get going. Alright, shooting really quick. Alright, blue die is the long rifle, hitting on 4s. Not bad, and the long rifle hits. Wounding on 3s. Ooh, everything wounds, wonderful. They have a -1 normally, but it doesn't matter for the Hex Wraiths because they are 4-up regardless. So I'm going to roll them all together because I don't think it would affect anything anyways. So 4-up saves. Oh, well, that's how that goes. So 1 wound goes through on them. We will grab a wound marker, plunk it here. All right. And I got so excited to shoot, I forgot to actually move the zombies. So I'll move the zombies now, and then we'll get into close combat. Alright, so here are the zombies after their 8-inch move. I also gave them their 3-inch pile in. We're going to have the good old, you know, anvil on anvil smash right over here. The Hexwraiths there, nobody else charged. So we're going to go ahead and have them roll their attacks first. I did shuffle them all so that all 20 can reach. Plus they will have the benefit of the drag them down roll, which gives them +1 to hit and wound when they have 20 or more models. So we've got 20 dice. We are hitting and wounding on 4s. Okay, so not very good. Ooh, that's a lot of 2s and 3s. Very good. And we got a whole whopping 7 hits. So wounding on 4s. They got 1, 2, 3, 4 wounds. And then I believe these guys have a 5-up save. Let me just double check. Yep, 5-up save. See if they can stave off any death. So we saved 1. The other 3 will be chopped down. So it'll go 1, 2. And yeah, you fell over. You go. Alright, we go over here on this pile. And I know the zombies have a special rule too, but I'll see if it's at the end of the turn or end of the phase. At the end of the combat phase. So we'll save that for later. Alright, next to fight back, we're going to go ahead and have the handguns slap foolishly and hopelessly against the Hex Wraiths. So I think they literally just have like pocket knives that they stab with. Yep, the dagger. There's got them all. We got 10 attacks, so 6 plus 4, and hitting and wounding on 5s. So 2 hits as they flail desperately. 2 wounds. Alright, and we got 4 up, and there's actually a wounded Hex Wraith, so if they actually take the wound, they go down. Oh, they lost 1. Handgunners. Alright, they plinked off that guy, so he gets to go sit off in the bye-bye pile for now. Good job, boys. You're dead. Okay. Hex Wraiths are gonna move in. And we've got 8 plus 1 for the champ is 11. So 5, 10, 11. Oh. And they are hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s. That's a lot of not 4s. Actually, pretty much just rolled 4s. It's funny. So 5 hits, wounding on 3s. So 4 wounds at -1. Let's see. And they have a 6-up save, so they're just going to lose 4 guys straight out. So there goes 1, 3, 4. Humans get chopped off. Bye-bye. And then we're going to have to do some shuffling around here. Let me just double check the halberd rank. I think the halberds are only a 1 inch, but they just get +1 to their ability to hurt things. Yeah, halberds are only a 1 inch range. And they have a -1 rend, which is really effective against zombies. No rend, so good times. Alright. We'll go ahead and shuffle. He goes 3 inches there. They go 3 inches there. Oh, and he's actually engaging the who's it called? It's the Hex Wraiths in doing so. So I'll have to remember that for later. But we're gonna go ahead and just have them all target the zombies. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So alright, I got all 17 in range. Well, let's grab 17 dice. We got 5, 10, 15, 17. They're hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s for 1 damage each. And Sergeant adds 1 attack, so we got 18 dice. And 4s. Making sure I'm not forgetting any of the bonuses. Oh, they get to add 1 to hit rolls if there's 10 or more models. So guess what? They're actually hitting on 3s. That's cool. So guess what? Hitting on 3s. Which will count because there's actually a couple of 3s in here. And I knew they had a bonus, I just had to double check first. Wounding on 3s. Alright, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dead zombies. So we will pull 4, 5, 6, we'll go 7, 8. Oops, I should show. I'm pulling 2 over here, 6 over there. So 8, that is important to note because they could very well take a morale test. That was a good punch, guys. Good job. I'm going to leave them there because we got our zombie special rule in a little bit. So actually it's right now because they fought, they stabbed, killed a ghost killed a few back. You know, people died everywhere. So for the zombies, for every model they slay, at the end of the combat phase, you roll a die, and on 6, a zombie gets put back in play. So, I should probably just go ahead and move all the dice. Hey! I actually got a guy back. We're going to blink. Alright, it still means they still lost 8 models, so they're still going to probably lose more for morale, but we will get to that in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and then we'll take a look at the number. Okay, so doing the aftermath, we'll start off. The zombies lost 8, so 8 plus 5 is 13, so that means they lose 3 more guys. So we're just going to take 3 guys off to the side over here. They're going to dismantle and discrumble due to giving up the ghost. I'll figure out the words. The guard lost 3. They normally have bravery 5, but they have a standard bearer which gives them +1 bravery, so they have bravery 6. So with that, 3 plus 5 is 8, so they will lose 2 more. So 2 more guys are going to go bye-bye over here. The Hex Wraiths lost 1, but they have bravery 10, so they don't care. And the Handgunners lost 4. They're also in the same bravery 5 +1 for banner, so 4 plus 5 is 9, so they lose 3 more guys. Oh boy. It's not looking good for these little guys, but you know, that's just how the game goes. So we lost, I think those were all the bravery tests. So we're going to go ahead and look at the actual number of people. This one I think is important because it's 6. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not right. So 9, 10, 11. I think I'm going to count him as out. So we got 11 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 zombies. So looks like the zombies actually gave up the objective. The humans have taken control of the big objective. Otherwise, clearly skeletons, vampires, clearly. So we've got another. Nope. We gotta do the human turn first before we actually do the rest, because otherwise that wouldn't be quite fair now to give them extra points now. Alright, Cities of Sigmar. Alright, Battlemage is going to Arcane Bolt the Hex Wraiths, because really that's what they're going to need to do, some moral wounds. So rolling on 5s, he got an 8, so we'll see if he got a 10. Okay, ain't nobody doing magic this turn. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do the really quick movement and really just decide, do the Greatswords try to take care of the Hex Wraiths, or do they abandon it and try to hunt the character? I think that's going to be the big question. So either way, here is the before and after. So obviously the Halberds and handguns were held up. They just going to stay in place. I actually had the wizard run. He got 2 inches just to try and escape the inevitable from the Hex Wraiths. And I chose to go after the vampire. And the reason being that the vampire can bring models back and can do a lot of damage, but if I can get the charge here, they can hopefully one-shot the vampire, and then they can easily make short work of the skeletons. The halberdiers are going to win against the zombies, but I don't know how well they're going to do against the Hex Wraiths. And at this point, it's really, again, it's about the objectives. And they now have more guys controlling that one, so they're guaranteed probably 3 points this turn, so giving them the lead. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and do the shooting phase really quick, because these guys still can shoot, they just have to shoot the guys in close combat with them. So we got 3 guys left. The blue is the long rifle. So they don't get the benefits from the stand and shoot because they are within 3 inches of an enemy unit. So hitting on, I believe, 4s. And I'll quit showing off my bare feet because you know that's what you get for playing at your house. So deal. Rolling and on 3s. So that's a wound. -1, they don't care. 4 up. 2, so they blink off another wound. So we're going to put the wound right there. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and do the charge. So, Greatswords, this is your time to shine. We're going to go ahead and grab a couple of black dice. I think it's probably, it looks like about 4 or 5 inches. 8 is definitely more than enough. So we'll move them and then we'll get into... Yep, there we go. All 10 are within reach. We are definitely going to go ahead and have them go first. Reasoning being that they need to kill the vampire before it swings back and probably wipes the unit. And the Hexwraiths, since they're actually tagged by the Halberds, are spread out so they can't monopolize, consolidate properly in any direction. Well, that's kind of a lucky turn of fate, so I'm not really worried about the zombies, which, by the way, there was apparently one zombie stuck in the arch earlier that I didn't notice, so he got plugged back in, so there's one more guy helping them out. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and roll. So there are 2 attacks each on the so there's the missing guy. On the Zweihanders for the Greatswords. They also have a special rule that if you roll a 6 on the hit, they do a mortal wound in addition to normal damage. +1 attack for the character, so 21, hitting on 3s. And that is 1, 2, 3 mortal wounds to start off with. And we will scrape out. And that's in addition to damage, so that means I still get to roll and do potentially more damage. And oh my goodness, I probably should have used these guys against the Hex Wraiths, but hindsight is 20/20. So 3 mortal wounds, and then they are wounding on 3s. And we take out 1, 2. So there is 8 here at -1 against the vampire who only has 2 wounds left and needs to roll at least 7 5-ups to survive. Let's see how it goes. Nope. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 fails. I mean, not a bad attempt, but unfortunately, the lady has once again gone down. So, major blow to the undead forces as they lost their character support. And at this point, I should go ahead and have the zombies attack next, because really they're not going to do much more at this point. So there's 10 zombies now. 4, 8, and then 10. I'll switch out that because the white dice are harder to read. So, 5s and 5s. 2 hits. Alright. And no wounds. Okay, very exciting. So, handgunners are going to go ahead and just pile in because they're going to die next. So they're going to get their 3 stabs in. Also looking 5s and 5s. 1 hit. 1 wound. No rend. 4 up. Hey, this could kill another ghost. Oh, nope. Ghost save this time. Yeah, some pretty bad glare going on these dice. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and have the Hex Wraiths do their shuffle. I think they can actually, with how they are pinned, they're now touching, so 3 have to go into the handgunners and overkill them, and the 1 remaining, who is actually the Hellwraith, so he gets to throw his 3 attacks into them. So we'll resolve the 6 attacks against the handgunners first. We'll just split them up that way I just remember. So 4s, and if I get any 6s, are automatic mortal wounds in the ends. So there's 1 more wound and 2 hits, so that's at least 1 dead handgunner. And 3s. Oh, 2. And these are at -1, so oh, that's right, handgunners don't have anything, so that was, what is it? 3 mortal wounds? I think I accidentally rerolled the 6. I'd have to double check, but I'm going to say regardless that this unit is dead. They'll take their 3 wounds and like it, because really that's how that one was going to go. So, alright, now we're going to do the 3 attacks from the Hellwraith into the Halberds, hitting on 4s. Okay, never mind. They will not be hitting on 4s. Okay, Halberds will go ahead and go next. So we're going to just have them shuffle around a little bit now that there's less zombies. We're also going to bring a couple guys over here. Now, you stop that. You go with appropriate. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 going into the zombies. Actually, we'll do 12. We'll have that banner go into the zombies, so that's 12. Plus the champions, 1, so that's 13. And then we'll do the remaining 3 into the Hex Wraiths, try to plunk off one more guy. So we have 13 attacks, 5, 10, 13. And we'll swap out the whites for the clearer to read. And these guys are hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s because there's still more than 10 of them. So hitting on 3s, not bad. Not bad at all. And wounding on 3s. I think there might be just enough to wipe the whole unit if I roll. But we missed 3. So that is 7. 7 zombies go poof. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 3 zombies remaining. Oh, they are not lasting. Now, on to the 3 other guys attacking into the Hex Wraiths. So hitting and wounding on 3s. 2 hits. 1 wound. 4 up to see if we pop another guy. Oh, nope, they hang in there. So Hex Wraiths are just barely hanging on by the skin of their ghostly teeth. Okay, Hex Wraiths already fought. The zombies flailed earlier miserably. Halberds, or Greatswords, won, and the Halberds definitely did a bunch of punching, so. Alright, morale test. You know, I don't think we actually lost any Halberds. Nope, they didn't lose anyone because the Hellwraith failed and the zombies failed, so they don't need to take a test. The zombies just lost 7, so 7 plus 5 is 12. So that means 2 more zombies. Poof, that means we are down to just the standard bearer, keeping them all at bay. Well, he's got extra hands. He should be able to whap them off. Never mind, don't think about those words. That was poorly thought out. That was it. I think that was really morale. So now we're going to look at the points, because now it's the end of the turn. We've got the Halberds are clearly controlling this one, so that's 2 there. Skeletons. Ooh, you know, the skeletons definitely have more bodies there because those guys are outside of the 6 inches, so skeletons are controlling that, so that's 1 point there. And the Halberds are controlling that, so that puts them at 5 to 3 for the cities of Sigmar. Now, we got to grab our dice and do the turn roll. This is, I think, going to be really important for the undead. If they don't win this one, I think the humans are probably going to wipe them off the rest of the board. So, oh, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and just do our magic really quick. Wizard's going to cast Arcane Bolt at the Hex Wraiths. 7 goes off, so that will be 1 mortal wound, so that will plink off the 1 duder. Take that die, we'll just set that there because they'll need it probably shortly. And then we're going to go ahead and do the movement. Although those guys are locked in place, the Greatswords have some bones to chop through. So here is the... And after. Okay, yep. Wizard's curious. He's going to see what's inside this treasure chest. Hopefully it's not a mimic. Like, different game. And now we get to see the beauty of dealing with ruins in close combat. So there is an opening there. They are exactly 3 inches away for the charge here, but they're going to have to wrap around the building. Oh, it's just going to be so lovely. So otherwise, obviously, Halberds couldn't move, so there's no more shooting. So we're just going to go straight into the charging. So, Greatswords, you need at least a 3. Let's see what you roll. 10. Whew. They are bloodthirsty. Alright, we're going to go ahead and have them wrap around the skeletons, and we will begin fighting. And after, so I'm choosing to have the Halberds go first. I went ahead and had them pile in. Of course, right after I did that, I realized I probably should have just stuck with the Greatswords going. But they have a 4-up save, so there's a pretty good chance that they should be able to hold off against the skeletons, but that's just math for you. We'll see how that actually goes. So so the Halberds will go first. We've got 10 attacks going into the zombie. Unfortunately, the unit champion is also reaching them, so we have 11 attacks going into the zombie. And guess what? We're just going to kill it because there's no statistically possible way that I would fail that many hits and wounds. So we'll just go on to the more interesting, the 5 attacks going into the Hex Wraiths. So hitting and wounding on 3s. Oh, 2 hits, wounding on 3s. 2 wounds. 4-up save. We'll see if there's... Oh, double 1. Oh, that pops off. 1 more Hex Wraith. So they have 2 remaining. Okay, skeletons are clearly going to fight back because, you know, that's just kind of how this goes. You attack the unit that hasn't attacked you to try and weaken them first. So they will have 11 attacks, hitting on, I believe it's going to be 4s because they lost the character, so they're not getting, they're not getting any extra bonuses now. So 10, 11. So hitting and wounding on 4s. So we're looking for 4s, 4s, and then 4s for saves. So 4s. Oop. So 5 fail. So that's 6 successfuls. Wounding on 4. Ooh, 4 successes. These 2 are 3s. So, and we got 4 up. So theoretically, 2 greatswords could go down. And theoretically, it's correct. 2 greatswords will go down. So, oh, and I wrapped them around in the way that the unit champion's here. So I want his extra attack. But we're losing a couple guys over here, which were around the objective. So if I whiff all these attacks, they could actually still not control the objective there. So, oh, by the way, not that it really matters at this point, we should probably check to see which objective is... Okay. So, that was fun. Let's just make a game where the rules are this one objective is 2 points the entire time. Okay, so we have 8 guys remaining over there, plus 1 for the champion. So that's 16 plus 1 is 17, so 4, 8, 12, watch my arm, 16, 17. Alright, let's get these. They are hitting on... Oh. You know, I play this more, I'll start memorizing these things, but 3s and 3s. And 6s do mortal wounds in addition, so there's 1 6, so there's 1 guaranteed dead skeleton. And the rest of these are only 1 damage, so there's actually a chance that the unit may not get completely wiped. So, and 3s. That is 7 more. Minus 1, so that automatically goes through. So that's 8 dead skeletons, which, you know, for what it's worth, that means it's not a completely dead unit. It does say goodbye to the musician. So these guys are just piling over here because really it's pretty much the end of the game at this point. Alright, Hex Wraiths. We've got 5 attacks going... Hitting on 4s, and 6s on a mortal wound. Oh, okay. That's 3 dead Halberds, and that's it. And then 3s to wound. No wounds. Okay, so we just kill off 3 Halberds. Blech. Alright. And now the horsey kicks. Or bites. 4s and 5s. 3 hits. They haven't actually had a chance to fight all game, but then again, they technically did. They did a little bit against the Handgunners. And 2 wounds. No random though, so that's a 5-up save on the Halberds. Oh, they saved once, so... Blech. Okay. So that is 4 more dead Handgunners. I think at this point that is it for the close combats. We've got... Handgunners still have their standard bearer, so they're at leadership 6. They lost 4, so... We'll throw that down on the floor, and then we'll pick this one up and say... 9, so 3 more. I have never seen so much failed morale, but then again, I guess since I played so much ogres and undead that you don't really see morale. They lost 2 this turn, but again, they don't care. Skeletons lost 8, so 8 plus 2 is 10. They are still around. Now let's look at the Greatswords. They have a bravery of 6. They lost 2, And they have a +1 to their bravery, but however, I think the skeleton warrior banner is -1 to bravery. Yep. So they're at 6. So they lost 2, and this is when I roll 6 right here. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, so they're fine. And that is that. So it's now the undead's turn. They have got to scramble to try and recover this game at this point. So they don't have a hero phase, so we're going to just do movement, and we're going to do a power play here. Because these guys can run out of combat. Now they can't fight the wizard, but what they can do is stay 3 inches away from the wizard and take the objective from him, because there's only, 2 to 1 on that. So haha, they can steal back 1 objective. Okay, and now we're going to do close combat. Skeletons will go ahead and do their swings, and then I'll just pull them because they are toast. So 4s and 4s. Nope. Okay, they didn't damage. Okay, I don't know what happened there. I think my camera just died. I might lose it here again shortly. So we are going to go ahead and do the end of turn for the undead. The Halberdiers are controlling this one. They're still within 6 inches. And the Greatswords are controlling that one, but they've got that one over there. So we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8 to 4 for the cities of Sigmar. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and concede the undead at this point. Other than, if they get the roll off, we'll just... they don't. So what's going to end up happening is the Greatswords are going to come over and attempt to mulch them, whereas the wizard's going to keep pelting them with Arcane Bolt. And then, regardless of which... So they actually move to the middle. So the Halberds would just move to the middle. And actually, they don't even need to move to the middle, because the Greatswords would still be close enough to control it. So they'll control all 3 objectives next turn, probably no matter what, unless the Hexwraiths go nuts on their turn and kill off the Greatswords, which is really unlikely. So I'm going to concede it is Cities of Sigmar victory 8 to 4 versus the Legions of Nagash. I'm going to pile up the guys back up here, and we're going to talk about post-game and just the usual thoughts we have. So thanks for watching. Let's do post-game. Alright, that was a good game, folks. You guys all did a pretty, good job on your own rights. Just afterthoughts again, just working on that, holding the camera and such. Unfortunately, it looks like my battery is dying, so I don't have too much quick explanation. Legions of Nagash, I'm going to give the Hex Wraiths the unit of the game, only because they did that little surprise charge on the Handgunners I wasn't prepared for. And then, fell back and were fought for objectives. So they, again, being the last unit to stay alive, it's, I think, just because they're ghosts with 2 wounds that they can tank a little bit more than the other units. Zombies are just really weak right now. I mean, obviously, 20 guys is not going to hold anything without any of the additional support, like the corpse cart and such, or like a necromancer to buff them with, well, rather debuff their opponents and such. So once I go up to larger point levels, you will see more of those bodies, which is where they're going to start shining better. As for Cities of Sigmar, I'm definitely going to actually give the winner, or the, unit of the game, to the Halberdiers, and that's because I did not realize how hard they punched. They really punched above their weight class. They mowed down the zombies really easily. They even did, a little bit of damage to the Hex Wraiths, but really it was more the fact that I inadvertently tied up the Hex Wraiths using them, so they couldn't go back around and, mow down the Greatswords, which is really where they wanted to go after dealing with the Halberd, or the Handgunners. Otherwise, I mean, everyone else did their part. The Greatswords, I also was kind of shocked with how much damage output they had with that, doing mortal wounds in addition, and then having 2 attacks apiece. I was expecting them to have 1 attack apiece, but that's what you get for not really reading the War Scrolls before starting the game. And Handgunners did what they could. They got left exposed because this is a small game, and you kind of have to pull everyone forward, whether you like it or not. So they probably could have done more damage. I mean, they were definitely going to keep targeting the skeletons to whittle them down, but they didn't do enough damage to counteract the vampire's ability to regenerate guys at the beginning of each turn, just like any of the death heroes can do. So overall, really good game. I felt like the camera was controlled better. I changed the lighting out from being a sharp white to a warm white, and I felt like it really helped with the visuals. So um, otherwise, so we've now seen ogres versus the vampires, or the undead versus humans. So I think the next game, I think we can kind of guess who versus who. We'll do that. In the meantime, thank you so much for gaming and for watching. For me gaming. Thank you for letting me game. I really appreciate it. And I will let you all go. I'm going to go ahead and do another little quick post-report ramble as long as the battery is alive and talk a little bit about my feelings about the cities of Sigmar. Alright, thank you guys. Have a good day slash afternoon slash night, whatever time it is for you. Okay, so you're sticking around to hear me complain, or not really complain, but just kind of talk a bit about the lament I have with my Cities of Sigmar army. So, to start off with, I own 3 factions. The Ogre Ma tribes, which were my first love, what got me into fantasy battles back in the day. Then the Legions of Nagash, which I kind of fell into shortly after Age of Sigmar got rolling. I got into a Patreon, got some more ghasts, which you will see in larger point games, and kind of developed an undead army off that, especially because I was running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that was undead themed at the time, so it gave me an excuse to buy models for playing on the table, because that was pre-COVID. Actually, it was several years ago now, but and then Cities of Sigmar. So during Old Fantasy, I acquired my buddy's collection of Empire and Bretonia. They were given me because he was the one who got me into the hobby, and he fell out of the hobby, so he gave me his stuff. And so I got a lot of things, kind of basically in a box in a bunch of, Ziploc bags. So, you'll see like this guy here who's missing a head. You've got all the broken halberd head, tips and such. And they weren't quite as bad, but unfortunately I've moved twice since I got this collection, and halberds just don't last against moves if you don't have a special storage case. And really, all my dedicated good storage is currently saved for my ogres and then my Warhammer 40k orcs, which if I ever get a second good 40k army, I'll start recording 40k reports until I can have people over or go over to other places, blah blah blah. But anyway, so I got into the Empire right towards the end of 8th edition. I actually, they were starting the end times events, and at that time we were all oblivious and naive to what was going to happen, and so I was pretty excited. I was developing up to have a whole bunch of wizards and basically run a wizards council. So I'd have like 3 wizard lords and 5 wizard mages, and I'd have each of the 8 lords of magic, that sort of thing. And it wasn't powerful, but it was what I wanted to do. And I also had bought like the War Shrine of Sigmar, the altar, and with the big eagle statue on top, and then you get the war priests as well. And I loved the war priests and what they did in old fantasy. I just liked how they, gave the stubborn and all the other little bonuses like prayers, like the original prayers. And then end times ended, and so did the entire realm. And Age of Sigmar began. And at the time when it first came out, for those of you who don't remember or weren't really in the hobby at the time, Age of Sigmar had no control over how you did, the games. It was people were doing kind of this rough method of doing like counting wounds. So you'd have X number of wounds, and it's like 100 wound battle, but the wounds were really not balanced. So um, they ended up being, oh, I guess somebody's coming to visit. So okay, sorry for the quick delay. And my lovely daughter popped in and wanted to see what I was doing because the last time I recorded it was middle of the night, so she was asleep. Anyway, so what I was just saying, there was basically this wound system they were using, and it was really unbalanced. And I played like 3 games with my ogres and just got wiped off the table every time, and it just was not fun. So I fell off and went, and I actually begged my wife. That's actually how I got into 40k, was because of Age of Sigmar. So I started doing that, And then I did the Patreon earlier, so I created my Legions of Nagash army, and then they released the Ogre Mob Tribes book, so I began focusing primarily on them. I actually went and swapped all the square bases to round bases, but then there's this. And yeah, they released the Cities of Sigmar, but they didn't have the warrior priests, which was what I loved about this army. And yeah, they had some wizards, but the whole, like, how the magic is now versus how it was before, it just isn't the same. And so unfortunately, this army is probably just going to be left on square bases. I might switch a few of them over because I actually have a few that are in a case for my Warcry team, because I use them for Warcry. In fact, all three of the teams I have for Warcry, so I'll start recording Warcry reports eventually too. But there's just so many projects, and this one just has so many problems. Like, not to reveal too much of my dirty laundry, but if you look inside that case, those bags are just more uh, Cities of Sigmar infantry, a high elf dragon I got for free that I've been painting with my daughter, and just there's just so many problems with them that I would have to put so much effort into repairing and fixing and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, is it worth it? Am I ever going to make them a primary army? And the answer to both of those, in my opinion, is really going to be no. My ogres are going to be my primary. If I ever go to an Age of Sigmar tournament, I will be bringing my ogre mob tribes, because that's just my team. Like, I might bring the Legions of Nagash just for fun if I wanted to, but if I'm really wanting to win a game, I'll play my ogre mob tribes. So this team is really, it's just going to be a casual. And as you see, a lot of these ones who have really bright, wild, exotic coloring and such is because they were gray. And my daughter, it was 3 and 4 at the time. She's 5 now, but I want to have her included in the hobby. So I found a couple of models that I didn't realize were still gray. So she's going to have a few more that she can paint. But those ones were painted when she was younger. She's getting a little bit more brush control, blah blah blah. So this army is going to kind of just look like this for these reports. So if it really bothers you, I can't help you. That's just how this army is going to be. So they will probably look like this for whenever I do home recording, um, or if I have somebody over. Once again, we get past the COVID mess and such. So we will see how it goes. But yeah, that's kind of my lament. Like, I was really excited for them in Old Fantasy, and now with Age of Sigmar, like, I like the Cities of Sigmar rules. It's a little complicated, but the things that I wanted from the Empire to transfer over didn't. And while they make sense lore wise, I don't care. I was very disappointed about that. And like, one of my battle mages I have floating around somewhere is actually a wizard on a horseback, and it's actually like holding a staff and all that. And the battle mage doesn't have a horseback feature, which was a disappointment. And the Battlemage isn't a free guild; it's collegiate arcane, so they're not cohesive with the rest of the team. But I bring them for these 500-point games because I want magic. So like, all three teams have a magic phase or hero phase. So um, yeah, so I'm not really apologizing, but I am apologizing, like, sorry not sorry, sort of, for these guys. They're just going to kind of look like this, and that's just kind of where they're going to be at. But I still like them. They still obviously can win games. I mean, again, I was very shocked at the amount of you know punch power that both of those units had. We'll see how well they do against the ogres the next battle, because the ogres can punch back probably as hard, if not harder, than these guys can. So we'll see how it goes. And okay, well, thank you for my little epilogue. I'm gonna get going so I can take care of the kiddo, and just appreciate you guys, and like, subscribe, because that's how these things go. It's not really exciting right now, but I promise you I will be continually pumping out more content so we can have more fun, awesome videos. All right, you guys have a great night, day, afternoon again, and okay, bye.